why did you accept the Mobilize Forum offer to look at virtual mobility and notably the way refugees use smartphones?
When they left their homes, of course they have to grab their clothes, shoes, and they always all have had a phone, a smartphone. So even in the boat, in the danger, before they are really sunken down or drowned, they're still calling, either to ask to rescue them or to report their location to their home or to the people they care about. And once they arrived, the first thing they do is to dial the phone to tell the loved ones they arrived. And during the whole journey, every day, in every camp, you see people set up this kind of station just to recharge the phone, or be dozens phone or hundreds phone there, or in any location when they see has some electricity, they will start to charge the phone. And they communicate with people at home, also people already in their destination, could be Germany or other places, Sweden or other places. So that's the way, that's a line of their lifeline, that's only hope and only comfort and only connection to a real world. And so that's very precious for them.
Maybe, Scheder, your work examines the question of mobility justice, mobile communication, and shows that mobilities both reveal and produce inequalities. Is that the reason why you were interested in commenting on and discussing Ai Weiwei's work?
I was always interested in how mobile communication was changing the way people move around the world, how they connect to information and to each other, to urban space in different ways. And I was also interested in migration and borders. And when I saw your work, I thought immediately this brings it together in a way that you don't see very often. The communication context and the refugee crisis and the border crossing. And I had learned how important that was when I was working in Haiti after the earthquake, because I saw all the responders coming in with very good communication systems, and yet Haitians who were displaced and were struggling to get their life back on their feet, they didn't have as much technology. But you saw those who had phones, it was so important, and they always needed to find electricity to keep them charged. And that was, for me, raised this question about humanitarianism and refugees and mobile communication technology. And it's, for me, a mobility justice issue, because there's inequalities all the time in everyday life, and then there's inequalities globally in how people connect together.
Yeah, distribution of information is really a human rights issue, I think. On the shore, when people doing rescue, they have such a advanced system. They can locate people in the ocean and they can communicate, because the coastline is so long. They can organize the bus, the doctors to be on the location right away. Sometimes 30 boats coming at the same time in different directions, and they need a lot of effort, social effort to even just distribute those people and to give them the first comfort is quite difficult. But the volunteers, they all very knowledgeable in social media, everything organized very well. It's very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, but important, I think, to recognize that refugees themselves want to connect and have communication and information, as you said, and sometimes I think the experts don't always share that.
When they just out of a boat, they must be calling their relatives to say they're safe. Yeah, we did some translation. We found out they're talking about they're safe, or sometimes they receive calls, they don't know where they are. They just say we're heading north, we don't know where, or they try to respond to see their situation, how bad the situation is, or how disappointed they are. And also they communicate about how to make next move. Because the journey like this, the worst thing is not lacking of support, material support. The worst thing is uncertainty. And the mobile phone gives them a chance to still have some connection with necessary information. And even just trying to communicate with smugglers, or to tell the people they're on the way, what is the possibility, and all those issues. But of course, the phone images can be on the boat, can be on the camps, or in police station, or in all kind of conditions, but they always have their phone on. When there is no camera, the power really acts very ruthlessly. The police, when there's no camera, it's so strange. They would act, they would behave very, very differently. But when there's camera, when you're yelling out, the world is watching, then it calms them down a little bit. It's just like that. It's everywhere. It's not in China or in France, or it's everywhere. The power always acts ruthlessly when there's nobody watching.
Yeah. It's like you have the video of the young men filming the border guards. Is it at the Greek-Macedonian border?
Oh, yeah.
And you feel like they too are standing up to the power of the government and sort of saying, we are recording this. So even if the injustice happens, there's a record of it happening.
Don't you think that the smartphones are a very powerful tool for them to overcome the fact that their physical movement is very often blocked, as we can see in your videos and pictures? Don't you think that in a way the virtual mobility allows them to, well, maybe to move again?
Yes, once a camp, and the one who maintains the camp said very, very strange. Was in German, in the camp in Berlin. He tell me a story. He said, yesterday they all said they want to go to Berlin, but today when we start to register, question them, they all said they will go to Sweden. So how could this happen so fast? I think they have their networks. They can easily just send out one note, to tell the situation changed, or is about the border or locations, and then they all get it. So in Italy, you see, there are a lot of engineers in there. There's a lot of very capable middle-class people. And they immediately set up this kind of network to to inform each other. Human basically act, the pattern is very much like an animal or like birds. You don't want to just fly by yourself. You want to be a group, to be, it seems always safer and less danger. It totally changes the landscape. They are no longer individuals. They are become a movement. We call them refugees. That's also, we already put them in one group. Even they're different. Where it could be doctors or could be teachers. They could be very different position, but we all call them refugees. But they share same kind of status, but also they share the fundamental understanding about safety and where would lead them, what would be most efficient path, and to whom they should trust, and all those very necessary information in our life. And it completely changed the understanding. When you see media says, "Oh, thousands of children are disappeared in Germany," I don't think they disappeared. I think they have their own channels, their own way of handling things. It's just two different channels. You don't know. Authority doesn't know what's going on. And because different language, different kind of, you don't build that enough trust for people to share the information, or you don't even give this kind of respect. Everybody would seeking for safety or want to have a better future. And then you always see them as a foreign. So there's never a chance to build a trust. Then, of course, the consequence is not very pleasant. It's not going to be a very brightened future whenever we don't have trust in another human being.
This video is also very interesting, the video where we see a man tuning his guitar with his friend with an app on his smartphone. And I feel that smartphone is perhaps much more than just a tool to communicate, but in this situation, isn't it a tool also to get human dignity? Just not to communicate, but just to...
It's a tool to dispense the very essential values for seeking freedom, seeking safety, seeking to be yourself, to relate to another person who understands your value and speaks same language. So yeah, I think that is definitely whatever we think is so close to us, we think it's so necessary, it always reflects the human dignity. Why human wants communication so much? Besides all the economic reasons, the very essential, profound, is trying to see who you are and to see through other people's eye. And especially on this kind of condition, when you have to lose your land, your neighborhood, your language, your religion, everything you're familiar with, the only thing you can attach to is the one who shares same kind of experience with you. Also have to give up everything. You look at him, you know everything. You understand. You can associate this with images you see in 40 years ago, 60 years ago, or as long as there's clear image being recorded, you can associate it. You see that kind of image in the history. People being refused, people being badly treated or mistreated. And you see so much fear in their eyes in those photos. I think the fear must come from uncertainty. They don't know what will be the next. And for those refugees today, it's so much better because they have the smartphone. You know, they can, even in the most difficult time, they still can have someone who has successfully made the journey, or someone in their home to tell them you have to really not come back. Here's no place for you to stay, you know, to give them some courage.
The transformations that have happened in physical mobility are that we are now able to at least have this virtual connection to a community that we're moving with or kind of trying to hold together as we move. I think in the past, people used to do that by choosing particular locations. There were migration chains where they knew somebody from their village was in a particular town in a foreign country and they would go to that place. So there were ways in the past to sort of try to keep those connections, but they were much more distantiated and harder to maintain, I think.
Yeah, it's true, because in the iPhone communication, you can have all the instructions, all the carrying maps, the road, the path, the time, the weather condition, and you know everything about another person, and you can communicate so well. And this is life kind of like walking through a video game.